on this Friday. News of the day, and I could have done separate videos for all these topics, really, but no, I'm not going to. So I'll try to get creative with the title because a lot of stuff to get in there just so people know, oh, hey, he does talk about that. Rick Nash retires. Rick Nash, we kind of knew last summer when free agency is coming up, and his agent said, yeah, so Rick's not playing. We knew that was a bad sign. Nash dealing with some nagging injuries. Believe it was his back that finally did it. And yeah, I mean, he had a good career. Played for Columbus, New York, and of course those 11 games at the end of his career with Boston. 11 regular season and then 12 in the postseason. And I thought he was decent for Boston. I thought, yeah, the offense isn't really there, but defensively he's pretty good. Physically pretty good. So he finishes with 1,060 games played, 437 goals, 368 assists for 805 points. Not a Hall of Fame player, but still an excellent career in my eyes. And solid career. Wish him nothing but the best. And there will eventually be a video specifically on Rick Nash. But for now, mention his retirement and wish him only the best. Nathan MacKinnon and Jared Bednar say nothing to see here. Everything's fine. What else are they going to say, though? I mean, really. Like, is MacKinnon going to come out publicly and say, oh, coach is an idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing? Is Bednar going to come out and say, I don't like MacKinnon. We don't get along. Not a big fan. And the key thing for me is this. In reading that Bednar has separate meetings just with their line, and then he acknowledges that it's a one-line team. That's weird. And I was reading articles because I was reading up on the whole MacKinnon thing, and like, is there any sign of this going on? But if there's a perception that the star players on Colorado have a different standing than the other players, you can end up with a situation where a guy feels like he can call out the coach. He's every right to call out the coach because just as important. And in this day and age where players make a lot of money, they may very well feel entitled to say whatever they want when it comes to coaching and the way things are being done because look how much money I'm getting paid compared to him. So I'm not saying that happened here. I'm just saying I could totally see that being the case in some situations. And let's keep an eye on how things are going. And always keeping in mind that there's going to be cracks in a team when they're losing. When they're winning is this wonderful elixir to make everything okay. Remember the Vancouver Canucks at their best, and you could tell there were guys in that locker room couldn't stand each other, but when you're winning, it makes it a lot easier. Bobrovsky and Yarmo, apparently, yeah, Kekalainen and Bobrovsky, everything's fine today. So the speculation that it may very well have been related to his reaction to being pulled from the net in his last game may very well be the case. The problem is, they said some stuff and they said it publicly. And if everything's okay today, why the hell did you say anything publicly yesterday? And I mean that. And I usually applaud Columbus management the way they do things, but why publicly say things about Bobrovsky that leaves us wondering, well, that can't just be him freaking out when he got pulled from the game, right? Because this sounds major. And then the next day, everything's fine. Well, then you should have just said Bobrovsky's not in the lineup tonight due to a personal issue, and then today everything's fine. I don't get it. I don't get publicly saying something and then going back on it a day later like, yep, no, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's not fine. There's no way this relationship is okay. No chance. Bobrovsky feels that he's one of the top goalies in the league and wants to get paid like it. Columbus has not met those demands as far as we know. And yeah. So that's going to be interesting, isn't it? There's a news edition on here that's not on the board. I wanted to talk a little bit about Mitch Marner. Marner's agents come out and said he will not negotiate a contract until the season is over, which I would guess includes playoffs. That's bad news. Kyle Dubas wants to get this done. And if Marner's going, we'll talk about it later. Smart kid. He's putting up a career season. Smart kid. Wait till you've scored that 100th point. Wait till you've finished the season with about 70 assists and about 110 points. and then you can go back to the Leafs and go, so that contract, let's discuss, and let's start at, and you start with just an amazing number, and you see if Toronto blinks and that kind of, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens, because Marner's going to get paid. So hopefully, if you're from a Leafs perspective, you're hoping that that Matthews will get signed first, which I would think if I'm Kyle Dubas, I kind of want that, because that's the biggest chunk. No matter how well Marner's playing, Matthews is going to get the largest amount of money. So you kind of want to start with him, so you can go back to Marner and go, hey, we know you want X amount of money, but then you'd be making more than Matthews, and you understand we can't justify that. And it would be hard for Marner or his agent to argue that he's a more important player than Matthews. Right now, he's having a better season, but an overall better player. It is hard to argue that Matthews is not the better player. All right, so that being said, let us move on to the news section on the board. Last man in. Voters surprised me. Jeff Skinner, Landeskog, Letang, and Draisaitl have been named in. So Giordano, O'Reilly, nope. Wow. We may end up having Giordano win the Norris and not make the All-Star game. And I'm trying to think if that's ever been a thing. That's insanity right there. But there you go. There's your last man in. Buffalo, Colorado, which is why I'm wearing the Colorado combined with the MacKinnon thing. Pittsburgh and Edmonton. You guys voted really strongly for your guys, because we know that the way a lot of this voting would go is people, younger fans, voting for their team's player. Which again, it's kind of a flawed system. But hey, what do we know, right? I've been asked about whether or not I would make my own all-star teams. I may take up that mantle. I may do that either today or between now and when the actual all-star game is. We'll see. And here's some good news as well. Puck and player tracking is set to begin next season. So we've been waiting for this, where basically the players are all censored up. Puck's got sensors in it as well. We can tell everything. Player skating speeds, angles of shots, goals, speed of everything. Just, they want to give us all of that advanced stat stuff that we can't get right now. And it's supposed to start next season. Now, it's interesting because it was supposed to be tested last year, I believe, at the All-Star game. It didn't happen. Now they're talking about bringing it in on a limited basis as a trial next year. We want this data. We want it now. It would be really interesting to see just how fast is Connor skating. Not only that, but where I'm more interested is the skating speed between the guy on the breakaway and the guy who catches him. So what is the difference in speed there? How big a difference, or is it just that minute difference, and it's just enough the guy gets a stick in and knocks it off? Just breaks up that breakaway at the last moment. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff in there with the tracking. But there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just tap it upon this video. And hey, I have a funny feeling there'll be a lot more news before the weekend's out anyways. And I think there'll be more coming out with Bobrovsky. But let me know your thoughts. I'll talk to you again soon.